Okay, so this is class 4. I'm doing a live video. I didn't announce it ahead of time because I want to just see what happens. Um, Basically, it's about divination. Like I said, it would be in the last one. And I'm going to talk about 3 types of divination that I've used in my life and that seem to work pretty well. The first one, the simplest one, is signs in nature. Now, this is going to sound silly, but I'm going to give you a way of knowing if it's going to rain, or at least a very high probability. If it's a day that looks like it might rain, look at the leaves on the deciduous trees. If they're upside down, not the way they're supposed to be, and you can see the lighter color, it's going to rain. Now that sounds a little wacky, but it's basically based on the change in humidity in the atmosphere. And it actually is a scientific thing. It's not magic in that sense of the word. But if nobody else knows and you know that, they're like, whoa, how did you know that? And it's kind of fun. And it works about 95% of the time. So, I've told a friend of mine who was going fishing with his buddy, I said, just watch, because he was worried about it raining. I said, you see those leaves flip, forget about it and get back out of the boat. And he went out and came back and said, you were right, the leaves flipped and then it rained and we got back in time. So that's one. But there's other signs in nature that are more of a magical nature. So look at the clouds. See if the clouds are telling you anything. See if you see an image in the cloud. If you see an image in a cloud, what does that immediately translate to you without trying to add anything onto it? You see something there. It can be telling you something about the future. It can be telling you something about things that are coming up. Now, as I said before, I work with the Morrigan. She's part of my pantheon. And she's connected to the ocean. She's connected to death and rebirth. She's connected to crows and ravens. And I have found time and again that if on my way someplace in my car, there's going to be almost an accident and I can avoid it, I will get a warning from the crows or the ravens. And then I slow down and I'm hyper aware, and I have missed accidents at least half a dozen times just by a little tiny bit. If I've been doing the normal thing I normally did at the regular speed, I would have been hit. Somebody blew through a red light, blew through a stop sign, did something really stupid. So I'm very grateful for that. And that's a sign in nature, and it's working with a specific entity. So that's something you can do. I started out consciously trying to divine things with the I Ching. It really appealed to me. I thought it was fascinating. I used the Richard Wilhelm translation because that one seemed to be the most comprehensive at the time. This is many years ago. Not the I Ching, not the teaching, sorry. And basically, what I wanted you to know was that you need 3 coins to work with it. You can do yarrow sticks, it's a pain. Get 3 coins. Now, I just happened to, when I started this, I was living in San Francisco. Chinatown is right there, so since it's a Chinese thing, I got 3 Chinese coins, which I still have. I think you can see them. There you go. And basically, they're kind of worn down now, so it's hard to see the heads from the tails. But and I'm not sure which was heads from tails, but one side had 4 symbols, one side had 2. So the 4 symbol side was the heads, the 2 symbol was the tails. You can do it with 3 pennies, 3 quarters, whatever works for you. And basically, you have a question about the future, about the present moving into the future, and you take the 3 coins in your hand, shake them up a little bit, and then you toss them. And then you read them. And basically, if you've got a head, 3 heads, if you get 3 heads, it's an unbroken line. So it looks just like that. All right, there's your unbroken line. If you got 3 tails, it's a broken line, and it looks like that. Okay, so. And it's going to change. So if it's 3 heads, it goes from a solid line to a broken line. And if it's 3 tails, it goes from a broken line to a solid line. So 3 tails would be broken line changes into a solid line. You do it 6 times, and you start at the bottom. So you're going to end up with something that looks like this. okay, with your heads, tails, whatever over here, and then the line, and then what it changes to, or if it doesn't change, like this particular one doesn't change, okay? But you start at the bottom until you've got 6 of them. So you've got a hexagram, 3 trigrams, you've got a hexagram. Once you've done all 6 of those lines, then you open up the I Ching and you look through it to find what's the first hexagram, first set of trigrams. So in this particular case, I had 6 solid lines. That's number 1. Okay? They changed to this. A solid line, a broken line, a solid line, a solid line, a solid line, a broken line. Okay? And that's number 49. And that means something totally different. Okay, number 1 is force, or the creative, and number 49 is skinning or revolution. And in Richard Wilhelm's book, you get this amazing thing where he tells you what it means, just sort of a literal translation, and then there's a thing called a judgment, and there's a tremendous amount of information that I won't go into because you really need the book. Good news, you don't have to buy the book. It's online. I put a link to it on the site, and here it'll be there for you, and it's perfect. All you have to do is make the toss in the order, write them down, and then find your hexagrams, and then you can read it right there, and it'll tell you all. And it's like pages of information, so you can go into great depth or not. When I first started out doing it, I went into great depth. I read everything. Oh my god, and then I was doing it every day, and then I was like, this is too much. So I would read like the first maybe a few paragraphs, 2-3 paragraphs, and that was enough. And you go, oh my God. And it really, really was amazing. It was amazing in terms of telling me where I was at, where I'd come from, and where I was going to, if there were any changes happening or if there weren't. It was just astonishing. And if I hadn't gotten completely overwhelmed by a more than full-time job, going to school, all those things all at the same time, I probably would have kept it up every day. But then I slowed down to like once a week, and then pretty much things were going so fabulous, I just put it aside and said, you know what, I'm just going to live my life. But periodically I've gotten it out. As you see, I still have the coins many years later. And I still had the Richard Wilhelm book until recently, and I'll probably be replacing that soon because it's nice to have. So the I Ching is it's one of the best, I think. It's one of the easiest, it's one of the simplest. And now that you all have at least 3 coins, everybody can have 3 pennies or 3 cents or whatever it is in your country if you're not in the U.S. I'm sure you can find something. So that's pretty easy for everybody to do, and I think it's wonderful. And it's like 2,000 years old or 3,000 years old. It's ancient. Okay, next is I misspoke last time and called them tarot cards. Oracle cards. A tarot card or tarot deck is one type of oracle card. I have at the moment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 different oracle decks. Okay, I don't have a standard Rider-Waite tarot deck or a Crowley tarot deck. What I do have is things that appealed to me, that spoke to me, and then one gift. Okay, so and all of these are wonderful, and you just pick whatever one you want, and that's the one you work with. So I've got this fun one called the Steampunk Tarot, which I like, and that is a tarot deck. Then I have the Tao Oracle, which is also lots of fun. I have a really wacky one that I couldn't resist when I went to a museum. It's called Art Oracles, and it's a lot of fun also. A little more serious, I have the Psychic Tarot and the Ascended Masters Tarot. All really good. I have the Tibetan Buddhism deck, all right? And that's it, really, very far from tarot, but still definitely an oracle. One of my favorites is the Enchanted Map. This is a lot of fun. And then finally, this is the gift that I got many, many years ago from my brother, who was a ceremonial magician. It's called the Morgan Tarot. That's one side of it, okay. Kind of nifty. And then this is the other side of it. You see that? This one didn't make any sense when I used it on and off for years. And then a few years ago, it started becoming so awesome. All right. Now, there's a number of ways to use Oracle decks. The simplest one, you grab the deck. You have a question in your head. Okay? You got to shuffle the deck without looking at what's, the face cards are. So you don't want to see it. You just want to see this part of it. And you just shuffle it and while you're asking the question in your mind until you feel like you've, done shuffling. And you can, shuffle it any way you want to shuffle it. Some people like to do, can you see this? This one? I don't think you can see that. Just move that a little. For those of you who don't know what that sound is. So it goes like, you split the deck in half. And then, can you see that? Jeez. So it's like that, okay? And then you let them come together. All right. So, and then you just fan it out and you pick a card, or you can just cut it. Some people like to just go like this, cut it. Boom. That's my card right there. All right? There's my card. And as you can see, it's very far from any tarot deck you've ever seen before. The one mind is rootless and foundationless. Bing. That's it. Okay? So that's, for the average person, probably not going to be the greatest. For something a little more people are used to, the enchanted map one. Okay? So we'll do this one. We'll do this type of shuffle. Got it. All right, and then I can fan it out like that, and I'll grab this one. Okay, and that shouldn't have been that way. I'll flip that back over. So my answer is spark. Now it doesn't sound like a lot because it isn't. It comes with a little book. So spark has a number on it. It's 34. You flip through the book till you get to 34. And there you had information. Now, whenever you pull a card, an individual card, or any cards, usually it comes out this way, so it's right side up, or it comes out this way, it's upside down. If it comes out upside down, there's a different reading than if it comes out right side up. So you want to check the different reading if it's upside down. And that's facing you, not facing away from you, like this one is. Okay, so what else can I tell you about that? Now, that's the simplest way to use any Oracle deck. There's also a 3-card spread, and you do the same type of pulling the cards, but you do 1, 2, 3. I like to do left to right. If you can do right to left, whatever you want to do, top to bottom, it doesn't matter. But a 3-card spread. The first card is the past. Stuff that's going away. The second card is where you are right now. And the third card is your future. Could be near future, could be a little farther down the road. But basically, 3-card spread, simplest one if you want to know more than just a quick hit. A lot of times, quick hit's all I want. Sometimes when I really want to deal with something and I want to get much deeper into it, I do a 3-card spread. There are more complicated spreads than that. My brother was incredible with tarot cards. He would do readings for people, and they would be completely blown away by how much he knew about them just from reading it. And they didn't, I'd be there, and he didn't know them, and they'd be like, wow. But he always did, I think it was a 10-card spread. It was something amazing. And you can go that far into it. I don't want to go into that far into it. It's more work than I want to put into it. I think I get everything I need out of the 1 or the 3. If I desperately need to go more, I will, or I'll find somebody who's really good at it to do it for me. Okay, so basically that's it. We've covered oracle cards, we've covered the I Ching, and we've covered signs in nature. There are other things you can do in terms of divination. Those are the 3 that I do, and they work well for me. Some people like to look they do scrying, looking into a crystal ball or into a black mirror or into a pool of water to get a vision. Some people like to use geomancy, which you can roll multi-sided dice. Well, they're all multi-sided, but there's more stuff to do, but I don't know that stuff because I've never gotten into it. So that's it for this time. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. And play around with it. Get some coins. Do get